Bruchim Abayim, we are continuing on Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim, the halachot of Bet Knesset, Siman Kuf Nun Gimel, and we're up to Sif Yud Zayin, and Daf Lamed Tet Amud Bet of the regular Prince of Mishna Berura. Maran writes, Mishaya bebetom, Bet Knesset Yamim Rabim. If a person had a Bet Knesset dedicated to the tzibur in his house, one of the rooms in his house, then a room, a back house, was a shul. And now people want to move it to a closer place, to a different place. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Ein hatzibur rashayin leshanoto bebeit achir. He could stop the tzibur from wanting to change the place to a different place, because he could say, well, this is more comfortable for me, right? So first of all, it's because of Darkei Shalom. Says the say the Poskim brings the Mishnah Berura, shelo yomru al bnei habayit ze anashim she'enam meugalim him, because people are going to say, oh, why did they switch it from this house? Must be they found something about this family that's not good. So that kind of like distorts their reputation, and therefore they could stop the people from doing it. Kaf HaChaim says a simpler reason also. He says, well, you could say, well, I don't want to walk farther. You're making it harder for me. Here it is. I just walked to my living room, and now you want to make it a mile away from me. I don't want to do that. And he could object, even though that becomes much closer for other people, but to keep status quo, even a regular argument of it's more convenient and comfortable for me to walk there is sufficient. But again, the Mishna says this is much deeper than that. He could argue that this distorts and affects negatively his reputation in the community, and therefore he could stop the people from doing it. Now, lachen afilu yesh latzibur k'tzat tam b'davar nami enam rashayim. Even if the tzibur has somewhat of a legitimate reason, they still cannot do it. Now, of course, if there would be a full reason, a strong reason why they found something bad about this, or there are strong reasons why the shul needs to be moved, then we're not concerned about this person's arguments. That would be, again, a case for discussion for the Tuvei for the Rabbanim, that they know the community and they know that this is a specific case for them to evaluate and discuss. Says the Mishnah Berura, if some of the people want to kind of like have their own breakaway minyan, it's uncomfortable for them, and now the kihila has grown, that there are enough people to have it closer, and so on. Technically speaking, rashayim. In a way that does not destroy the original minyan, that he still will have his strong, nice minyan, committed people who are going to be there, so that will be mutar. But if you are completely nullifying the minyan, or the learning even, from one house, imagine if you were here every day, and now you say, well, we're going to do a round robin, 2 months here, 2 months there, 2 months there, and you're taking it away from where it was completely for those months that you're not there, that they're not allowed to do. Now, having breakaway minyanim by itself is a highly debated subject. The Rabbi Aaron ben Shimon in Ar Mitzrayim, he writes in the Minhagei Mitzrayim, he writes about policies that they had about keeping a unified community, and the resources of the community focused on building a specific causes in the tzibur. Again, this is a much broader conversation, but imagine if you have pop-up minyanim for Yamim Noraim, and for Hagim, and for Fridays, and for Shabbat afternoons, and so on. Then what happens is you take away the focus from those who are real builders and role models in the Kihila, the Rabbanim, and Poskim, and Moreh Hora'ah of the community. And of course that deviates attention and takes the unity away from the community in a very serious way. This is what Rabbi Aaron ben Shimon writes very vehemently about in his Nahar Mitzrayim. Again, a discussion for a different time. But says in the Mishnah Berura, באיזה עניין של כבוד או של מצווה אין מעבירים ממנו. If a person has had chazaka in doing a certain mitzvah, a certain inyan of mitzvah or kavod, we don't just take it away from him, right? The Kaf HaChaim writes that even if the mitzvah that he has created a chazakah for himself, he has gotten is a segula for ashirut, still we don't take it away from him, even though that you could say, well, enough ashirut for you, let other people also have some. Because this we find in Mishna the Masechah Yuma that even though that they had a pais for Kohanim, they had a lottery for which Kohen is going to do which avodah, every Kohen would not get more than once in a lifetime to do the Ktoret. Because Ktoret is Siman Lashirut, right? It's a Misgula for Ashirut. And that we wanted everyone to be Zoche in that. So therefore, once a Kohen already got once, his name would not be included in the pais, in the lottery of the next time, in the tickets of the next time. So even though that's true in the case of the Beit HaMikdash, over here we don't say, well, this is Segula for Ashirut, so give it to other people. If he has Chazakah to do it, we do not take it away from him. Now again, this happens to be questions of high volume in the Shelot Utshuvot of the Achronim. Imagine if a person has had the Chazakah to be the Shayach Tzibur for Yamim Noraim, or he was the Baal Tokea. He is the one that blows the shofar or reads the Megillah, and so on and so forth. And do you say, oh well, he has Chazakah, we don't take, or do we say, well, he's older now, maybe it's time for a new person that could be more clear, more loud, and more efficient to take over? It's not so simple at all. In those cases, this becomes real questions of chazakah in the mitzvot. We're not dealing with these sugya right now. Just in passing, the Mishna mentions this in this sugya. It's not only in things that are constant and consistent. Even things that are once upon a time they happen, still will be chazakah, something that the person has been zoche. But for instance, someone that has the mitzvah of being involved with chesed shel ha'emet, he's been part of the chevra kadisha, a tremendous mitzvah. Once we're at it, we put a plug, people should volunteer for chevra kadisha. Every upstanding member of community should call Chevra Kadisha today and say, look, I want to volunteer to help out Chevra Kadisha with whatever it is that they need. Again, if a person has the emotional stamina to deal with what is involved with this, but these are tremendous mitzvahs that are communal, and community should really be taken care of it in that way as well. But nevertheless, if new people want to come and volunteer, the old ones, they can't say, oh well, this is our mitzvah, we stop you from coming, we want to do it all. They can't do that. Sheba'asiyat mitzvah kol echad rotzeh lizkot. People want to be zochet doing a mitzvah. ובמדינות שיש חבורות מנויות על כך, if you have a city that you have specifically these designated group of people to do it, שמניחים עסקיהם בכל השנה כשמזדמן להם מצווה זו, that they just drop their, whatever it is that they're doing, they're not just volunteers, but they are dedicated to doing this whenever it comes up, and they drop whatever it is that they do and run to do the mitzvah, then then they took, of course, this mitzvah upon themselves, and they get precedent over the other ones as well. Even a Talmid Chacham that passes away, Gadol Ador that passes away, Chacham Ovadia says that his students are not necessarily allowed to take the mitzvah away from Chevra Kadisha if their zchut has been to be busy with doing what the Chevra Kadisha does. They get to do it for the Gadol Ador also, even though that he may have hundreds if not thousands of Talmidim, still the Chevra Kadisha has precedence. That's like one open example of when this becomes very nogea. Of course, the Talmidim would want to do it themselves, but they cannot take that zchut away from the people of Chevra Kadisha. Okay, this is a tshuva in Chelek Zayin of Yabia Omer. Chacham Ovadia says this derech agav in the side over there in a different tshuva. So that's as far as the Mishnah Berura is concerned, and he writes, בבית אחר, רוצה לומר בבית של יחיד, אבל אם רוצים לבנות בית הכנסת, קבוע רשאים. That's only if you want to move it from a private residence to another private residence. But if you want to build a nice as well, the community has grown, Baruch Hashem, we started in a back house of a person or in an office area, whatever it is, and now we want to build a shul, of course, that's a very happy news, and they could take it out of the person's house, private residence, and build a proper makom for the tzibur, and that will be no problem whatsoever. Says the Shulchan Aruch in the next seif, Maran writes, Yesh מי שאומר שקלי הקודש של כסף שנהגו להביא תמיד לבית כנסת בחגים, those vessels that are fancy, that are brought in the chagim to beit knesset, made out of silver and gold and so on, אין יכולים להוציא לחולין ולמוכרם. You can no longer use them for chulin and go sell them, והקהל יכולים לתופסם שישאר בחזקת הקדש, and the kahal have the allowance, have the right to hold them for the sibur, not to be taken back once they were given to the hekdesh, to the shul, achar mitat makdish. So again, that's after the person that dedicated them passes on. The children don't necessarily get that. The shul gets to keep it. So says the Mishnah Berura, kegon menorot la'adik. Those are like, you bring extra candelabras for lighting extra nerot on Shabbatot and Yamim Tovim and Chagim, or tachshitim litlot al Sefer Torah, or designing, beautifying gold and silver that they brought to hang on the Sefer Torah. That they cannot just take it away. Because they did not specify in the beginning that this is just a lending. They just brought it stam without saying that this is ours and we're just lending it for the meanwhile. If they said it, good. If they didn't, then they have dedicated this for the chagim, for the Beit Knesset or for the Torah, and therefore the kedusha of the Beit Knesset, the kedusha of the Sefer Torah, takes effect on them, and they could be kept for the shul. Says the Magen Avraham, and nowadays is pashut. The minhag is pashut shenish'arim b'rshut ba'alehem, that these things are not kept for the shul. It's understood that people bring these things to beautify the shul for the wild being, for the Shavuot, for the Sukkot, for the Pesach, for Chagim, and they have no intention to donate this to the Beit Knesset. It's pashut. Everyone knows that this is something that they do, and therefore it's as if they made a tenai, and therefore they're bringing it adata the minhag with the well understood minhag, the backdrop of this, that is tantamount of making a clear condition and tonight in the beginning, and therefore you're good. You could keep them afterwards as the person that owns it. But it's always better to make a tenai clearly. Say, look, I'm going to lend this to the shul for the hag, but I have no intention to necessarily keep it. Keep it in the shul and or donate it to the shul. Says the Shulchan Aruch, in סעיף י"ט, יש מי שאומר שאם נמצא אחר מיתת האדם כתב כתוב שהקדיש כלים ואין עליו עדים ולא מסרו לקהל, אפילו אחי הווה הקדש. Imagine if you're going through the personal items of a person that just passed away, and you find in his documents that he has written that he is donating kach vekach money or this and this items to the Bet Knesset. Now, there's no edim on it, there's no testimony given, there's no signature of witnesses, and he hasn't even given that petek, that paper, to the kahal. You find it in his personal documents, you find it in his personal items. So you could say, well, maybe he wanted to, but then he changed his mind. He, haraya, he never gave it to the tzibur. He never got witnesses on it. So you could argue those things. So says the Shulchan Aruch, there are those who say, still with all of those given, there are those who say that these items stay for the Bet Knesset, afilu achi haveh hekdesh, it will be still considered hekdesh. So says the Mishnah Berura, haveh hekdesh tevadai iktisho, is vadai that he wanted to donate this if he wrote it, kevash katav lo ala megillah. Once he wrote it on an official piece of paper and he kept the paper, he didn't trash it. We mentioned that he wanted his yorshim, his inheritors, to know that from his assets and from his estate, he wants these items to be given to the hekdesh, to the shul, to the bet midrash, whatever it is. Ve'ayin b'magen Avraham ma'sheir b'azeh mi'chosh mishpat siman pe'alef if you zayin ochtiv rashach yetoras kushato. It's again back and forth, becomes really a question in Dinei Mamonot. Now, this actually has ramifications if what he wrote is a very large sum. If you find that he said that half of his assets are going to be given to the things, then it becomes much bigger of a question. So that's something that has to be discussed, of course, in every particular case for itself. But nevertheless, the Mishnah wants us to know the gist of this sugya. Saying that, if you find that someone has had clear intention to give to the Hakdesh, to the Yeshiva, to the Kolel, to the Shul, to the Bet Midrash, we honor those wishes and we do take it seriously. We don't say, oh, well, maybe this paper fell from the heavens, or maybe he meant it and then he didn't mean it afterwards, or maybe he was joking. We don't say any of those things. If he wrote it and he kept the paper in his personal documents, then we do deal with it seriously. Says the Shulchan Aruch in Seif Chaf, יש מי שאומר שספר תורה שהוחזק שהיה של אבותיו של ראובן, אין הציבור יכולים להחזיק בו. If you have a Sefer Torah that has the chazakah that this belonged to the father, grandfather, great-grandfather of Reuben, and Reuben wants it back, the tzibur cannot hold on to that Sefer Torah. They don't have the permission to keep it if it's owned by the ancestors of this fellow. There's actually a thing that's very close to the heart. I'm still researching to find the Sefer Torah of my grandfather, which is somewhere in Eretz Yisrael now, taken there by the family in the beginning of the revolution. And it's something very, very dear to the family that we would want to have, trying to find where it is and try to return it to the family. That's something, of course, very important. So says the Shulchan Aruch, even though that's in even though that's in Bet Knesset, if it belonged to the ancestors of this individual, he gets to keep it. He gets to take it out of the Bet Knesset if he wants to. And Hasibur Yecholim velo amrinan de bevadai hichlita leHekdesh. We don't say that he bevadai wanted to give it to Hekdesh. Velo dami licheleh hakodesh shel kesef shenahagu la'abiyam Bet Knesset hamua b'seif Yudchet. We don't say that this is like the Seif Yudchet that we just had, of bringing the silver items to the Bet Knesset. Over there we said that the owners cannot take it back, maybe. But here is different. It's the derech. People don't want to gift their Sefer Torah to the tzibur. They want to lend it because they want to keep the ownership due to the mitzvah. A person has a mitzvah of owning a Sefer Torah, therefore don't want to necessarily give it to the shul as a gift. It's pikadon, it's given there as a lending, and they could take it back when they need to, when they want to take it back. So that really concludes the Seif over here, Seif Chaf, and B'ezrat Hashem will continue this in the days to come. Chazak u'baruch.